privileged that they've opened their doors to us for breakfast, but it's actually in a cellar. And a few of the attendees laughed because I commented they even lit all the candles for us. So it was very romantic breakfast. But it was just, again, so lovely to be somewhere so different, break away from the office and make those relationships.
And you're in a great place for different venues.
Yes.
There's so many in Cornwall, aren't there?
There really are.
Great stuff. You've already touched on social media. And
yes.
As you stated, we met on a Twitter hour.
We did, yes.
So tell us a bit more about how social media has helped you and which channels. Is it specifically Twitter, or have you found others help you too?
Yeah, well, we use predominantly Twitter and Facebook. We have an Instagram account, which I do post on, which, again, I think any social media is great for getting your brand out there and just kind of tapping away. As I said, it's that consistency that people want to see. I think that's one thing is the kind of killer on social media, when people start with a vengeance and then they tail off. People want to see that consistency. But the main ones that we found have helped to build the business have been Twitter and Facebook for us. Obviously, Twitter is very much B2B, so it's much easier to get those kind of connections. It's great for following up on networking contacts and a good way to easily touch base without having to do long-winded emails. Whereas obviously Facebook is very much more B2C, so slightly different. But we have a Facebook group that we try and encourage people to share their business pages and like each other. Again, similar to networking, it's about that consistent support. But I would say Twitter is the one that's probably brought us the most business. As I said, it's a really easy way to follow up introductions. It's a really easy way for other people to introduce you quickly as well, which I find quite helpful. And as you mentioned, we do like the Twitter hours. I think they're absolutely fantastic, great ways of meeting new people. And as I said, we've gained a lot of new contacts and new attendees through Twitter because maybe they weren't aware of us. They didn't know there was an alternative option out there, and we like to shout about it a bit.
Very good. I think one of the great things for businesses about Twitter is everything you put on there is public.
Yes.
Whereas on Facebook, people have to like you first or be part of your group, whatever that may be. So it's much more open right away. It
is, yeah, very much. What we've started doing as well in the last year is we actually run a little half-day social media masterclass. We actually got one on this Thursday, funnily enough. And it's just a quick session, but again, it's to try and make people understand, as you've mentioned, it is an easy tool to get your business out there. And there are ways that you can use it. And I think social media really goes hand in hand with networking. And it's really a really strong way of building those relationships and continuing to touch base with people. So, we try and add that in where we can.
Do you think that social media becomes even more powerful when you've met someone in person?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, very much so. I think a lot of social media accounts, ours the same, is, you have your business logo. And it's really interesting when people say, oh, I know of you, but it's nice to put a face to a name. So, once you've met somebody, then to follow up afterwards, you realise you're speaking to that actual person and, you can think of how they were when you met them and their personality. It's nice to hopefully see that come out on Twitter. You want it to be personable. You want it to be about an actual person. You don't want to read tweets that have come from a robot. It's about, being that person, because that, again, it's that old cliche they say, isn't it? People buy from people. It's very much about relationship building, again, going back around to networking.
Absolutely, you're there again.
You can tell I'm passionate about networking.
Well, that's exactly why I wanted to interview you. So what tips would you give to a business new to Cornwall, just like you've been very recently and myself as well?
I think the key is, as I said, it is to get out there. It's not about door knocking. It's not about cold calling. It's about meeting people, getting out to business events. There are so many, and they're so easily found. You just have to go on the internet, and there's so many business Cornwalls and goodness knows what that list all these fantastic events. And as you said, dip your toe into everyone, find what works for you, but get out and meet people. I know Cornwall Chamber of Commerce is incredibly strong. I'm actually a member of my local town Chamber of Commerce because that's where the local business goes on, and you find out what's going on in your town, and I'd highly recommend that to anybody. But it's about getting out there, meeting people, and being persistent. I think that's the key. There's going to be times where you think your hard work's not quite getting there. It will come back round, and the Cornish businesses and Cornish people are fantastic at supporting each other and supporting local businesses. So I think if you just get yourself out there and get yourself a bit known and meet the right people, it soon starts building nicely.
There we go. And in your sense, I guess what you've found is there's a new business there. So you came down looking to do corporate events, and in the end, you're now a networking group.
Yes. You never know what can happen.
Be open to the path ahead.
Yes, definitely.
So what tips would you give to someone looking to create a networking business like yours?
Okay, well, I'd say, the first one is finding the right venue, as we've touched on before. I think it's very easy to go down the kind of corporate officey route, but I think people are looking for something different now. We are spoilt for choice. As you've mentioned, there's some stunning venues around us. So finding the right venue is key. And then building up that core group, it takes a while, and it's being, as I said, persistent and keeping going. We always have a speaker at our events, and I think, again, the kind of feedback that we've had is finding a variety of speakers. We're very fortunate. We have quite a few charities that come along, but we also like to do a lot of business topics. So again, it's that little extra nugget that people feel they've come away with. It's not just that they've made those relationships and met new people. They've also learned something, or had some hints and tips or some support in some way. So finding a good speaker is handy too. And yeah, as I said, it's just spreading the message. Once you're there and you're established, it's getting the message out there so that you have that consistent flow of people that become regulars and their relationships are really strong, but you want those new faces at each event too. I think that's really important. People want to meet someone new if they can. So it's trying to find that happy balance.
Great tips. Can you remember how many people came to your first event?
I think there was about 25 at our first one.
That is really good.
Yeah, we did really well with the first one. I was really chuffed. Our average at the moment is probably we aim for about 15 to 20. That's the ideal number we find. Again, it's one of those things. It may not be for everybody, but I've always found that a room full of people, you still probably only speak to 10 or 15 people anyway. So the key is if we've got the right people around the table, it's quality over quantity is what we try and go for.
And so, did you have to be around in Cornwall for a certain amount of time to achieve that great starting figure of 25?
I think so. I'd been a member of our local Chamber of Commerce for probably about 6 to 9 months, and we were well supported with a couple of our local businesses coming along. So I think that really helped. As you've mentioned, with any new business, people want to see what you're doing before they dip their toes in. So it's quite hard to get that kind of starting point off the ground. But as it was something fairly new to the area, there wasn't any other option at that time. We were really fortunate to be bringing something new to the businesses, and we have a very low price point. We only actually charge £16 per session, and that includes your meal. So I think people thought, you're not tied into a membership or anything. It's just an opportunity. Give it a go. If it's not for you, nothing ventured, nothing gained kind of thing. I think we kind of meet that happy place where people are willing to give it a go. They don't feel that there's a massive risk. They're not tying themselves into a year's membership or anything like that. It's just a nice, here we go, let's give it a try. And as I said, we've been very fortunate that the majority of people then just keep coming back.
And more events happen.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
When did you first start working on social media?
I think, to be fair, I've always done social media in our business. Obviously, the kind of focus has shifted a lot, but we've always been quite active on social media. I think you always learn as you go. At the very beginning with the main event, when it was the corporate stuff, it was very much, we did a lot of salesy stuff on Twitter. As I said, I was in Bristol at the time, so I was treating the business slightly differently. However, now it's, really, really kind of developed, and it's a lot more personable, and having those conversations with people, I think it's shifted, but I think we've always kind of been quite proactive on social media with our business. So that's probably about 6-7 years.
Great. So how do you feel networking's changed in the online world?
Yeah, as we've said, as I was saying then, I think social media has really, really evolved. You've got, from your LinkedIn, where you've got kind of your online CV and a lot more of kind of information, down to your kind of Twitter, where it's just connections. I think it really supports networking. It is with the hours and things, you feel it's almost a community. When you do your Cornwall hour, or then you do your Dutchy Biz hour, you're in that little area, you're in that moment, and you're dealing with businesses that could potentially be right on your doorstep. And I think that's made quite a difference. Obviously, the power of then the things like Instagram and Pinterest has shifted things, because that gives you a different kind of way of showing what you do. As they say, sometimes talk can be easy. It's quite easy to say we're fantastic, but if you can show the pictures and you can show your reviews, I think that's quite powerful. So I think it really helps to have those connections, and I think sometimes with emails we get so carried away that the information's almost lost, whereas the likes of Twitter, etc., it forces you to focus on your message. You have to really kind of condense it down. So I think it's a really, really useful networking tool, social media.
Very good. Some great tips there and some good things to say. So given all those changes and different channels coming available to us, where do you think things are going to go?
From how I've seen in Cornwall, I think there will be a slightly more focus on face-to-face networking. As I said, I really have found that businesses really work on a relationship basis. So I think, Twitter is fine and Facebook and social media, but I think it really is about getting to know a person. If you're comfortable with them when you meet them or you have those conversations. So I think it will focus a little bit more heavily on face-to-face meetings rather than social media itself. But I think, as we've said, the two go hand in hand. So it will be interesting, I think.
As it always is.
Indeed.
So what next for you guys?
Well, as I said, we've just launched 2 events. That was last month. So they were really well received. We were really fortunate. We got into some of the local press as well. We were in where are we? What's it called? Cornish and Devon Post for our Firebrand event, which was absolutely fantastic. Great to have some press supporting us. Our next kind of key thing for us, really, alongside the networking I mentioned at the beginning, is we run a business fair. We call it the Dual County Business Fair because it's at a place called Roadford Lake, which is literally just on the border of Cornwall and Devon. It's just 2 miles off the A30, so it really covers those kind of 2 key counties, which we think is fantastic. Again, as I said, we very much have gone for a smaller scale because we do think it's focusing on quality over quantity. So it's a really exciting event. We have 27 stands. We only have a couple left, believe it or not, which I'm thrilled about. The uptake on our exhibition stands has been fantastic. So that is on Thursday, the 8th of September. So that's something we're kind of focusing on at the moment, and we are sorting out, it's free to attend, so we're sorting out our kind of guest speakers, etc. for that. Following that, we will be doing another networking launch, but it's very much in the pipeline, so I'm gonna leave you with that teaser there, is that we're not confirming anything, but we will be confirming it in the next couple of weeks, which is really exciting. So that will add another networking opportunity for everybody then.
All sounds busy in great ways, Gemma.
It is. Thank you.
Where can we find you and your events online?
Okay, so all of our events are listed on our website. So that's themaineventmanagement.co.uk. Similarly, they are also all listed and can be booked on Eventbrite, which is an event booking website. And you'll find us under TME Networking. But if you search networking in Cornwall, we're one of the kind of top listed ones because we have so many events running. Similarly, as I've mentioned, we are strong and very active on social media. So you'll find us on Facebook under TME Networking, and you'll also find us on Twitter, and that's the_main_event_. But again, if you search for TME Networking, you will find us popping up everywhere, I would imagine.
No doubt. So Gemma, it's been great having you here today. Have you any final message you want to give everyone?
No, just if you want to come and give us a try, please do. As I said, we're a very friendly bunch and there's no tie-in, so it's an opportunity to try something different. But I would recommend, even if you don't try us, to give networking a go. It's a great way to market your business, to gain some more support, to gain a bit of knowledge if there's some nice speakers, and to build some quality business relationships. It's about supporting businesses in Devon and Cornwall, and that's really what we want to do. So thank you very much for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
It's been a pleasure, Gemma.
Thank you.
Your message is it's all about relationships. I think that's what we learn.
Very well, there you go. Fantastic.
Well, have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, and you.
My name is Phil Byrne, and I'd like to thank you for listening today. If you have any questions on anything you have heard in today's podcast, feel free to email your queries to podcasts@positivesparks.co.uk. We are an online advertising team who strive to help you thrive online. Want to know where to start with pay-per-click for your business? Download our free online advertising pack at positivesparks.co.uk/pack. Until next time, goodbye.